Ask more directed questions. Go through all the questions in your sales process and answer them as if you were your ICP. It's only perceived as rude if you interrupt somebody to talk about yourself. One thing I can tell you from my own experience is that ads always work. It just depends how much money you're willing to spend.
What if he's like, yeah, I mean, you can also just wait a day, or let's start next week, it doesn't matter.
Always count on the boys being here first. Let's fucking go. Oh, they're together today. No way. To move back home or what?
No. No, I'm only here for today and tomorrow.
Yeah, Tim's like, get me the fuck out of here, bro. I don't
Seriously.
You hear what happened to Zach this morning? He opted in. Oh, there he is. I think that's probably Zach.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I listened to that call. I gotta say, bro, you made Jose's day. He sent it right into our chat, and he's like, "Oh my god, this made my fucking day." Everybody responded. They're like, "Thank you for sending this in. This is fucking awesome."
Yeah, I mean, I kind of I didn't want to like take up your calendar space, but I wanted to hack you guys a little bit and steal some secrets. So.
No, anytime you want to do that, please go ahead. Like all of our friends do it. I do it all the time. Even Rayon gets calls from our setters. It's cool. If you have any feedback too as you go through it, just let us know, and we'll be happy to tie up loose ends.
Thank you.
Dennis, what's popping?
Yeah, man. So I had 2 sales calls today, and like my problem is that every discovery phase takes 50 minutes, and I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. In the past, it wasn't so long, but I'm just getting too deep into the person's life, and they're telling me their whole life story, and we have to reschedule for another date.
Okay, the simple. Totally understand. Like this is I had the same problem. So this is a perfect question to ask me. The simple answer is ask more directed questions. So right now you're asking more open-ended questions like what's the problem in your business? Right? A better way to ask that question is what's the single biggest bottleneck in your business? In other words, what's the single thing that if you fix today would double your revenue? One answer, like one word question. Boom, right? Another one would be like, how do you get your leads currently? Like, how do you get customers currently? Right? Super open-ended. Now we can get like a 2-minute response. And I'm just sitting there just like, fuck. But if I just said, how do you currently get your customers? Ads, referral, email, or word of mouth? You give me the answer and we're good to go. Okay. And then the next thing you can do is like, even if you, give them specific answer or specific questions, they can give you a specific answer. And then if they're like going crazy, like one of the ones we always get is we'll ask, what's your offer? Right? What do you actually give to the market? Solid 5-minute yap if we don't stop it. And so like if I ask you that question and you just go off, if you start talking for more than 30 seconds, I'm just like, Dennis, just 1 sec. 1 sentence. That's it. Just 1 sentence. And you're like, sorry, what? What's your offer in 1 sentence? I didn't ask like, what do you do overall? Like 1 sentence. I'm like, oh. And then they're thinking like, oh, I don't even have that. Right? So that's step 2. Step 1, specific questions. Step 2, don't be afraid to cut them off. And then step 3 is go through all the questions in your sales process and answer them as if you were your ICP. So if somebody who would walk in, lay down, close every time, what would they answer in an ideal world? And don't accept any answer other than that. So if they start answering and it's like very deviated from that ideal answer, stop them, ask them a question that better targets and directs them toward that answer. Does that make sense?
Okay. So I'll go through my questions myself. And my last and second question is that, when you send someone the contract and he wants to do it 100%, and he's telling you, so let me just take a look at this again on the evening. I just don't sign anything the first day. So how do you work with these people?
So is he concerned about getting started, or is he just concerned about not wanting to get started right now or signing the contract?
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference if he does it now or this evening, right?
The easiest way for you to handle this, and before I do this, I'm just going to give you one more thing for your previous question. It's only perceived as rude if you interrupt somebody to talk about yourself. If you interrupt them to clarify something they've already said or ask them a question about themselves, it's not perceived as rude. So you can interrupt anybody when it comes to things about themselves, not about yourself. So just make sure that the word I is not in the sentence that you interrupt them with, and you're good to go. To answer your next question, the simplest answer for this is, okay, man, I think you should go do that. I wouldn't want to pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. So what I'll do is I'll send that contract over. We'll actually take a minute today. I'll just sit here. You can read through it with me, ask any questions you have, because at the end of the day, I don't want you to have to like sign that yourself and have a bunch of questions. We go back and forth over text. And then the other thing too is you did say you wanted to do this 100%. Yeah. Yeah, of course. I just want to make sure the contract's all lined up. Okay, perfect. So here's what I want to do. We'll process a payment for $100 right now, so we don't even have to get another call. When you do that, I'm actually going to start your onboarding. I'll get our team to start working on all these different things, X, Y, and Z, so that as soon as you're ready to go to the contract, we don't have to worry about time to get things started up. We're already rolling, right? Because we are going to do this 100%. And worst case scenario, I can go and adjust some of those contract terms to line up with what you need. And then as soon as you get that contract back to me signed, I'm going to go ahead and just charge the rest of the amount on your card. Sound good?
And what
So
if
just
he's
get
like,
the ball
yeah,
rolling.
what if he's like, yeah, I mean, you can also just wait a day, or let's start next week. It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter, right? Because the thing is, if you're saying you want to start next week and you think this is a good decision for your business, one of two things is happening. Either one, you're the kind of business owner that doesn't act on opportunities when he sees them, and that's not the kind of business owner I want to work with. Or two, there's something you're hiding and not telling me because you're not ready to move forward with this right now. So which one of the two is it?
Okay.
Right?
All right. Okay, I see. All right, thanks.
Of course. Evan.
I got two. So I've been doing the tie downs like just before this call. I had a setting call where I tied the guy down on being burnt in the past. Like I was like, okay, well, I got him to the point where I was like, okay, so you're like, I have your word on this 100%. No matter what, you're not going to let being burnt in the past stop you from growing your business in the future. Right. And I triple tied him down. And then like 5 minutes later, he brings it up again. Like, so in a situation like that, I know that you're supposed to like call that out, but every time that I've gone to do that, I just feel like I'm coming off desperate as fuck. So like, how do you go about calling them out if they go back on their tie down?
Whoa, dude, where'd that come from? He's gonna be like, oh fuck, I can't do this. I just got fucked in the past. Oh man, where'd that come from? He's like, what do you mean? I got burned in the past. But we just talked about putting that behind us. Easy as that. It's not desperate. It's just like, what the hell happened? You just gave me your word, and now you're going against it. But you're not saying that. It's just you just told me you're going to put it behind you. What happened? Right? And just take like think about it this way. Do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say you guys get in a fight, right? And you're like, I need you to do this for me. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to feel loved and respect and all this shit. She's like, okay, perfect. Right? Next day, she comes home, does the thing again. Like, are you going to be like, you just said that yesterday. What the fuck's wrong? No, you're going to be like, baby, what happened? Right? We just talked about this. Just chill, neutral. She's like, I'm so sorry, I forgot. Fixes itself. But the second you come at it being like combative and high energy, then all of a sudden they're going to bring that too, and it seems desperate.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Yeah, thank you.
I thought you had two questions.
Yeah, what about the second call?
Oh, yeah. Well, which I thought that's what I just asked about. What are you talking about?
No, like the bringing up the other services.
Oh, right. So when it comes to the setting call, I don't know how familiar you are with our offer, but all of our marketing basically portrays us as like every other lead company. And then once they get on the setting call and the interview, that's when it's like up to us to show them all the other factors, like all the other parts of the system that make us different. So oftentimes on the setting call, you get the question like, hey, what do you guys actually do? What makes you different than everybody else? Blah, blah, blah. And the way that we've been handling it is basically been like not brushing it off, but like basically brushing it off and saying, hey, that's what the interview's for. I need some more information from you. And then just continuing the discovery. What we're kind of disagreeing on is like whether or not we should do some sort of like paradigm shift on the setting call to make it more likely for them to show up on the interview. And
what is your new opportunity?
So there's like What is the new opportunity? Well, we have a bunch of other systems that go with the Google ad. So it's
But that's
like
just
we
better.
don't
So like, what's the actual new opportunity? It's like, you see what I'm saying? Like another service provider in your niche would say, I do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to say, I do X, Y, and Z plus A and B.
Right.
Is that a new opportunity, or is that just an improvement opportunity?
I guess you're right. It's just an improvement.
Right? Exactly. So again, question, what's your new opportunity?
Well, fuck, I don't know if we have one now.
There you go. So there's your problem. I would definitely recommend syncing up with Dylan on this because he'll be able to whip one of these up for you pretty quickly. But pop quiz, what's Catalyst's new opportunity?
Marketing holdco.
There you go. Simple question, simple answer.
Right.
And the reason why new opportunity is so important, I would definitely recommend that most of you guys read through at least the first couple chapters of Expert Secrets because it has a lot of really good stuff in it. And time again, Dylan and I will find ourselves coming back to this book. It's a Russell Brunson book. And the reason why it's so interesting is because it's written in a way that a beginner could use it to grow their business. But like you could run a business doing $1 million a month and still go back there and have the solution to every one of your problems. Right. For example, we just went back there. We were struggling with high cost per lead, and we realized niche down marketing. Let's go target sub markets and sub niches as opposed to targeting the broader market of agencies. Right. Easy money, 4 times cheaper on our leads. Right. And so for you guys, I want you to review that and review specifically understanding markets and how to position opportunities, because you don't need to change. Like this is the new opportunity that we sell here at Catalyst. Right. It's like you don't have to change anything about your service. And fundamentally, you don't have to change anything about what you actually give to businesses, right? Your actual offer. Like, what does the business get from working with me? What you need to work on is how that's wrapped and packaged, right? And so here's a good way to frame this. Let's say Catalyst sells, we'll sign you 10 5-figure clients in the next 6 months, right? Using the same offer, scripts, and systems we've used to scale 3 businesses to $250K a month and hundreds of other businesses as well. Okay. Is that a new opportunity? No, right? Every other agency offer out there. But a new opportunity to a real estate agency would be, we've scaled 17 different real estate agencies to 50 plus K per month. Here's all the case studies. Boom, 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 boom. We're looking for our 18th, 19th, and 20th agency to scale in the real estate industry using our unique AI-powered real estate agency scaling system. Nothing changes about our offer. We still get you your 10 5-figure clients. We still have the same service delivery, but it's positioned as a new opportunity specifically for that market. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you stand out, and like when they get on the phone call with you on the setting call, they won't even ask. They'll just be like, yo, I saw that ad. How do I get in? How do I learn more about it? Oh yeah, we can talk about it. Absolutely. And we're going to do that on our next call. Today, I just want to make sure that you actually qualify to work with us. And now the frame is less about why should I work with you? And more so, why should we work with you? Right?
Yeah, dude, that would make it so much easier because almost every single time we get on these calls, it's like we're looked at as the same as every other fucking company, every other lead company. It's just an uphill battle. So
it will always be, because here's the thing, right? The reason why new always sells better than better, right, is because when you sell better, 9 out of 10 companies that you work with will have already worked with another one of your competitors, or at least tried it themselves, like the service delivery themselves. And so when you get them to admit or want to work with you and say, okay, we're going to do this, what you're inherently getting them to admit to is that the reason it didn't work last time was because of something that's wrong with themselves. Like, I fucked up. I'm not good enough. I chose the wrong business. Nobody wants to admit failure. They don't want to admit something that they're falling short with. Whereas with a new opportunity, it's easy to say, put the blame on the fact that old opportunity is oversaturated, doesn't fucking work. Just come over here. This new opportunity is going to solve all your problems. Sound good? Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with us. Everything's wrong with the people you worked with before. That's the easy way to do it. And that's the subconscious game that they play in their head when they're on the phone with you guys. And probably part of the reason why some objections come up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. So definitely just like sync up with Dylan on that. He'll know exactly what to do as soon as you say, hey, we're struggling with selling an improvement offer and we need to position our offer as a new opportunity.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll reach out to him today. Thank you.
Sounds good. Kyle.
Talked to Dylan on Tuesday and but with my niche being healthcare related, Google cannot record calls for local service ads. And when I was bringing this up to Dylan, I was like, well, then I can't mark them if they're qualified or not qualified leads. I don't know how to do that. And he said that in my sales script, I need to move away from talking about bringing them qualified leads and talk more about just the return that they get on the ad spend. So my question is, how do I work that into my sales script? Because from my understanding, the really big selling point of local service ads is that you're only paying for qualified leads. So
yeah, obviously, right? And like you could sell, again, we're selling the outcome, right? The new opportunity is what gives people your funnel, but you're selling the outcome by leveraging that new opportunity. And so the new opportunity you're leveraging is like, hey, we're going to run LSA, but we're going to do it my specific way. Now, the outcome you're selling is still going to be the same. So what's the outcome you currently tell businesses that they get when they work with you? When I spend 10K on Kyle's service, what do I get?
There's a break-even guarantee. So that worst case scenario, you make at least 10K back.
Okay. What's my dream outcome? Like what is my
3-to-1 return?
Best case scenario, what am I getting? 3-to-1. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And are you pretty confident? Like, have you fulfilled like that before pretty regularly?
No, but when I run the numbers,
let's say
that's
even
what I should get.
Yeah, let's even say like 2-to-1. And I can tell you from my own experience too, especially if you're running on low spend and you have a business that does good work, especially in a local region, 5-to-1, 6-to-1, 7-to-1, not a challenge.
Yeah.
When you start spending like 30, 40, 50K and you've like exhausted your market, well, you have a different problem now. And that's when things start to look at 3-to-1. We run our ads on like a 3-to-1 right now, but we're also spending 50, 60K a month. So when you're on the call with them, it's like, listen, you don't care. Obviously, like leads convert to calls and calls convert to paying clients, right? But what would happen if every single lead that you got on the phone with only paid you $100?
Yeah.
Would you still want those clients? No. Right. So what we're here for is at the end of the day to get a return on that spend. We want high paying clients. Yes, we do. Okay. So what if I told you that I sat you down, you didn't know what I did. And I said, hey, Kyle, there's a way for me, for every dollar you give me, to double your money within 60 days. What would you say to me? You're fucking crazy. You're a scammer. There's no way. The best returning index in the stock market is 12.5% in the last decade, 11%, 10% over the last 50 years. That's Vanguard stock index, right? There's no possible way you can do that. Well, I can tell you with a fucking fact that I can show you 10 businesses that do that. You can use our case studies too, right? Okay. So if I was to be able to show you 10 to 50 businesses that have done that without fail, would it be easier for you to believe? Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, I can do that 100%. But what we're talking about here is return on spend, right? And that's what makes ads so exciting is when you finally figure out how to run them, when you finally have an acquisition channel in your business that's not just people walking through the door and referrals, you've unlocked an infinite money glitch. And it sounds too good to be true, but that's because it is true, right? You spend $2 in ads, and the worst case scenario, you're getting $2 back. A lot of the people that we work with and that we know are returning $3, $4, $5, even $10 for the money they spend on ads. You've never run them before. I have, right? And that's just the game. And so when I tell people about what I do for work, like let's say I sit down with my girlfriend's dad, who's like a partner at a law firm. He works in environmental business law. First time I met him, he sits me down. He's like, okay, you're driving this nice fucking car. It's worth a ridiculous amount of money. You live in this penthouse. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what do? You deal drugs? You're 23 years old. Right? He's just like grilling me like a lawyer. And I'm just like, no, I sell marketing services. And he's like, sorry, what do you say? Like, I sell like marketing services. I work with local business, like small business. He's like, okay, so like, what do you actually do? Like, I run ads. He's like, what? Like billboard ads? I'm like, no, those ads you see on Instagram. I don't have Instagram. Like, okay, well, what if I put it this way? For every dollar I spend on ads, I make $5 back. And he's like, you're lying to me. I'm like, you want to see? Right? And he's like, but what do you actually do? I'm like, I do this for other people. It's like, oh, shit, I got it. I'm like, that's how you sell a lawyer who doesn't even know what Instagram or Facebook is or return on spend and make them realize, holy shit, this is pretty crazy. And that for them alone is a new opportunity.
Right.
So as long as you can sell them on this idea and get them to believe that if you spend $1 on ads, it will return, whether it's 2 or 10x, I don't know. That's on me. They lose their mind. Because one thing I can tell you from my own experience is that ads always work. It just depends how much money you're willing to spend.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it gave me some ideas on how to phrase or position the LSAs a little bit differently. So,
because I think right now on your sales process, correct me if I'm wrong, you're basically saying, I'm going to get you X amount of leads and I can guarantee those leads to you. What you do with them is up to you. And what would that do for your business if I could get those leads?
No, I do try and position it as new patients in your office based on the conversion rate of like booking and showed appointments that you should have. And I do ask them about that in the audit so that I get a good idea of if that's the problem in their business. Because I've talked to some offices, they're like, well, we book people and only 10% of them show up. I'm like, then it doesn't matter how many leads I get you. You're not going to have a business if you don't improve that. So as long as those numbers make sense, I'm like, cool. Then based off of that, I should be able to get you 10 to 15 new patients in your office every month.
Right.
And that is what I focus on. But they always just want to, because they don't know what local service ads are, they always want to understand how it works. And then we end up getting in the weeds on it. And that's...
Yeah. Because we're selling the technical parts of it and not the outcome. And so like the deeper you go down, like you're going to win by changing this approach as well, which is going to be good for you. You just focus more on the return. Focus on the dream. I spend $1, I make $2 back. And that's the worst case scenario.
So then what would be the best way to transition from like the audit and all of that into what I do without it being about what I do and more about what I get for them?
Yeah, so you're going to want to have to build basically what you have to do is you have to build a pain cycle, right? So very simple way to do this: increase perceived desire of a specific outcome, increase perceived pain of current situation. And so simple question: how do you currently get your clients? Word of mouth, walk-ins, referrals. Okay, cool. Any website opt-ins? Yeah, a couple. Sounds good. And do you have a fully booked calendar? Probably not. And if you do, are you maximizing the kinds of opportunities that are on that calendar? Like, are they all your highest paying clients, or are they mostly just kind of like low ticket? Yeah, lower ticket. And use your service or industry specific jargon for this. Let me just turn my light on. Okay. And how sustainable do you think that is? It's pretty sustainable. We've been doing this for a couple of years. Okay. And your growth targets, how sustainable do you think it would be to continue as is if you're really shooting for those targets? Well, probably not. Okay. What would happen if we continued as is? Might take me a few years. Okay. So if you did have a way to, generate 2 to 3 new appointments a day from people that didn't know about your business or know somebody that did, and they were high quality in the sense that they would be willing to pay for your highest ticket service, what would that do for your business? Oh, I'd probably do pretty well. Can you see how there's an opportunity here that we're not capitalizing on? Okay. And you're a smart guy, right, Kyle? What specifically has been stopping you from making this happen? Like, you're a fucking doctor. You've built a business that works. Why haven't you just turned the Google ads on? It's pretty simple. That's the killer question. Because they're thinking in their head, I can just run LSA ads. We're chilling.
Yeah.
And now they're going to explain to you why they haven't, because it's actually really hard. Right? It's like, okay. Well, listen, man, sounds like we have a couple small things we need to change around. I've worked with a lot of businesses just like you. Throw some examples out, case studies. I've got 3 main things here that I've written down that I think we should adjust. If you're cool with it, I want to kind of run you through those and maybe take a notepad out. And then after that, if it all fits, it seems like something that works for your business, we can kind of talk about how that aligns with our systems, and we can actually roll it out for you. Okay. Now you sell them on the return. Don't sell them on the system, right? Just briefly touch on it. Just be like, every $1 you spend on ads, $2 back, and then you're sold. I hope that makes sense. You can just watch this back and like adjust your sales process.
Yeah, I'm going to. I already ask pretty much all those questions that you ask. It's just except for the last one, where it was like, you're a doctor, why aren't you running this? It's simple. It's so simple. Yeah. Yeah,
that easy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll watch this back and make some adjustments. Thank you.
Okay, sweet. Andrew, I'm not looking because I'm trying to sign in on my iPad to see if I can screen share something and draw it out for you, but go ahead and ask and I will answer. I think you're on mute if you're asking. If not, we'll move on to Josh. And then when you figure it out, we can get back to you.
So,
there we go.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, my question isn't really regarding sales, but it's regarding marketing. But I didn't know if I didn't really want to wait till Wednesday for the next marketing.
Yeah, you can go ahead and ask me. I'll see what I can do to answer.
Yeah, we did sign our first guy pretty recently. and it's for a new niche that we're in. It's the NDIS, so it's a government-funded. It's a government-funded. Sorry, I'm phrasing it. It's a government-funded disability scheme that they have, and we're doing it for providers that sort of deal with participants that are needing services. So I don't really know what type of offer to create for them in terms of the fulfillment side.
That is an amazing question. What I want you to do, because I want you to get the most out of my answer, is I'm going to go and tap Dylan on the shoulder right now, and
Okay.
I'm sure he'd be happy to hop on a quick huddle with you and get that sorted. Does that sound like a
Okay.
good plan?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, sweet. Josh.
Yo, what's going? So, yeah, good. I've got a couple questions because I was just doing a couple sales calls a few days ago, and the guys were showing a bit of disinterest at the end, right? So after I show my pitch deck and everything like that, they would not ask for the price. They would not ask anything. I just go like, "Yep, I've shown you everything. This is what we do. Yada yada. What do you think?" "Oh, well, I just need to think about it. I'll let you know if I want to work for you. I need to do my research and, don't follow up with me. Yada, yada. Don't do nothing." And I just got really confused as to what to do then, because I just tried to tie them down, loop them around like 5 times, try to get a deposit or try to at least handle the objection in itself. But they haven't ever asked for the price. So that was a bit hard on my behalf. So I just wanted to see if you had a solution for that.
Okay, so they didn't ask for the price, and that's the concern.
They didn't ask for the price. They just instantly said, like, after I showed the pitch deck and everything like that, I said, "Okay, I've shown you everything. What do you think and what are your thoughts? And where do you want to?" I didn't even say, "Where do you want to go?" I just said, "What are your thoughts?" And 2 calls in a row was just the same thing. So, yep, cool. I'll let you know. And I think about it. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you. And I was just like, wait. You haven't asked for the price. You haven't asked anything. But it is interest. Like, you can just let me know if it's a no. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Whether it's a yes or a no, my goal is to serve you, not to like push you in a corner. But at the end, if it's probably going to be a no, so I wish you all the best. So that's how I handled it at the end, after looping them 5 times. But wanted to get your opinion.
Okay, so this is probably a fear thing, or a value, in the sense that they just don't see the value in what you're doing. So, be a common recurring theme. Jesus, I'm sorry. Common recurring theme today. It's like we need to really double down on pain cycles and establishing the value gap once we have them in that pain cycle between where they're currently at and a new opportunity. So, if that sounds like anything that you need to work on, we definitely want to work on that. The second thing is making sure we can address the pain, right? I had a closer come to me last week and he said, "Is it echoing from you?"
I don't know. Is it?
Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, I had a closer come to me last week and say, "Listen, man, like I'm struggling. If I had the leads that X or Y guy had, I'd be able to close them just like he did. But if he had my leads, he wouldn't be able to close." And I'm like, "What makes you say that?" "Well, I went and reviewed all his closing calls and his leads didn't have any objections. They were laydowns." And I'm like, "Did you only watch the end or did you watch the whole call?" He's like, "I just watched the end." Okay. So what I want you to do is go back, watch that whole call, and let me know if in every one of those calls he addressed the fear. And whoop-de-fucking-do, he did. And so the way to do that is this. I'm going to read it directly from this framework. We have these questions in our sales script already, right? So establish the value gap. You seem like a smart guy, right? You know what you're doing. So I'm curious, why haven't you made that short-term goal or your dream outcome a reality yet? They're going to answer something surface level with the business. And this needs to be done during the discovery phase. They're going to be like, "Oh yeah, like I just haven't had the money to spend on ads, or I worked with 5 agencies. They all fucked me." Okay, well, I get that. Totally understand. On a personal level, what's been holding you back? And then you're like, "Well, I don't know. I guess I just don't think that like leads are going to work for my, or like ads are going to work to get leads for my business. I don't think that hiring a sales rep is going to work for my business. Okay. And you don't think that that's going to work because of what? Right. You basically just keep asking this question until they get to the very deepest point of their fear. And they basically just say, okay, man, I got to level with you, to be completely honest. I'm just afraid to run ads. I'm just afraid to work with an agency. Okay. So it's fear. Yep. Well, based on that, how much longer are we going to continue to accept fear as the reason for our business not reaching the goals that we want it to be at? Not any longer. Okay. So given that you've said that to me, do I have your permission to hold you accountable to making the required changes so that we can make sure that today is the last day we say yes to fear being the thing that holds your business back? Yep. Okay. So before we even talk about that, I need you to tell me what you think needs to change in your business so I can hold you accountable to it. What do you think we have to change about what we're currently doing if that fear wasn't in the picture? Well, if I wasn't afraid to run ads, I'd be running ads. Okay. Then what? Well, if I was running ads, then I'd probably have to like figure out how to close them. Okay. Starting to get excited now. Okay. So we know what we need to do. Where do you want to go from here? Can you guys help me? Fuck yeah, we can. Right? It's the value. And the reason why people don't understand the value is because, one, you haven't sent them in the pit of despair and like dragged them out. And two, you haven't addressed the core fear. And so even if you do give them the value and they like realize how important it is for them to do it, they'll still say, I need to think about it. Or they like, maybe they're so afraid they don't even want you to tell them the price because they don't want to be faced with that reality of like, it's just one payment that's stopping me from getting to my goal, but I'm too afraid to do it. Right? So we just have to address that fear at the start. And then when we get to the objection overcome, it doesn't seem desperate. It just seems like you care. Because it's like, hey man, remember when you told me that you wanted me to help hold you accountable? Well, that's what I'm going to do right now. What's going on? Where'd that come from? The fuck? I hope that answered your question.
Amazing. It did, man.
Perfect.
100%. I was, one more thing, man. If someone deposit, sent, they dipped, and then 2 days later you send them the contract. No, thank you. I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do I just give them their money back, or like, because that's what I've been doing this entire time? But like, what should I actually do? Because I'm apparently there's a way to actually handle it that I realize.
What kind of business owner do you want to be?
What kind of business owner do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Yeah, I'm asking you that question.
All right. Making money, man.
Okay.
Changing lives. Yeah, definitely.
Changing lives. So we want to make money by like making good impact on people's lives.
Definitely.
Okay. So the hard answer, and the answer you probably don't want to hear, is that you don't send it back. And you also wait.
All right.
But you also don't accept their answer.
Okay.
Right? The power of a deposit, the reason why you take it in the first place is so that they show up to a follow-up. Right? So when you take the deposit, say, listen, this is fully refundable. I just need to make sure that you know that. Yeah, of course. Okay, so if we want to move forward, I got your card on file. We'll just charge it when you sign the contract. We'll get rolling. If not, just hop on a call with me. I'd love to kind of get an idea of and understand why it didn't work out for you, and what we could change to improve, so I can help service business owners in your niche better. And that money's right back in your account. The only thing I ask is that, because we wasted the time of doing your onboarding and all this stuff, because you're going to start that when you take the deposit, right? I'm going to start this. You're going to review the contract. And then as soon as you sign it, we're already rolling. I'll charge the rest of your card. So that they get on the call with you and you're like, listen, if you don't want to do, that's fine. But just to make up for the time that we spent, the only thing I ask of you is that you give me some feedback. Get them on the call, try and close them again. If not, send them fucking money back. If they want to get on the call with you, fuck them. They didn't live up to their end of the agreement. Got it in recording. Right? Use that money to help liquidate your ad spend and bring your ROAS up. Simple. And if anybody ever asks you about it, just be like, look, I was trying to look out for him. He wouldn't let me help him. So fuck that guy.
Done. Bro, that's so good. Easy. Thanks, brother.
Sounds good. Zach.
Yeah, I'm curious. just to follow up, let's say prospect misses their initial interview, the very first one. I'm not sure how much follow up we really should do, because we do state like if you miss it, like it's kind of over, right? Like, that's your only shot. So I don't know
Rail
how you do, huh?
Rail them. Don't let them off.
Okay, that's what I've been doing. Yeah, they
Yeah.
hear from me 2 or 3 times a day, pretty much for the next handful of days. But
That's exactly what you should be doing.
okay,
Yeah, because then the other thing I would do, like every time we have a no-show from a qualified prospect, and they've been triaged or set, most of the time, it's not because they don't want what we do. It's because the set was done wrong. The triage was done wrong. So when you have that every time, go and audit it. You might uncover something and be like, fuck, I should have changed the way I approached that, or I should have said that differently. Then when you do your follow-up and you're trying to call them and you like send them messages and stuff, address that concern in a different way so that you can get them back on the phone with you. Does that make sense?
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Like maybe it's like, I pushed him and he still felt like he had a bunch of pressure. And that's probably why he's not showing up. He's super qualified. Okay, great. Just send him a message and diffuse the pressure. And say, I'm just trying to get on a call with you. I want to make sure that I'm helping you out. Right?
Okay, awesome.
Jay?
Man, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So a bit of a situation yesterday. So I'll give you the background. So I had a really good call that I thought was one of the easiest calls that I've had, and pitched my offer, 5.5K. He was really, really excited. He's like, I want to start yesterday. Right. So I was like, okay, sweet. Went through everything. And then I I sent him the payment link in the chat on the call. And then he was like, yep, awesome. I got it. I'll handle it after the call, all that sort of stuff. Right. I then sent him a text message just saying, hey mate, look, I sent you an email with all the stuff with the next steps. Here's a link of the payment once again. We can get started. Let's get you rolling. Right. He sends me this email. I was like, hey Jay, thanks for the chat. I'm only a new business, and dropping 5K straight up is a risk I'm comfortable with right now. I know you seem to be new at this also. I just can't see myself moving forward with spend that something unproven. So that really caught me off guard, because I went through, I went through the tie down, asked him with conviction, do you feel like this is something that, he's like, absolutely. Like, I don't give a shit how, like, even when I went through the whole process of like how we generate leads, he's like, I don't give a shit if you get it from the back of your ass. Right. Like, that's how that's why I thought this is like a really, really easy call. And then for him to sort of turn back around, it really threw me. So
the only reason why you cooked yourself is because you let him get out of the buyer pocket.
Get out of the what? Sorry.
Like you let him get out of the buyer pocket, right? Like that place of pain.
Yeah.
Like they only stay in perceived pain being up and perceived desire to get to a new situation being up for a certain amount of time, and that's like on the call, right? And so, simple adjustment you can make to fix this next time is when you collect payment, do not collect payment until contract signed. Because once they make the contract, they're committed. They're going to be perceived as consistent. They're going to make the payment. You get them onboarded. Basically, what you say is like, okay, I'm ready to move forward. Sweet. And we're going to do that at $5,000. Yep. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire that contract, this agreement over to you. I'm going to sit on this call. And as you read it, I'm beginning your onboarding process, right? If you have any questions, just unmute, raise your hand. I'm going to be here to answer them. And as soon as you're done with that agreement, I'm going to fire over a payment link. We'll get that all sorted and you'll already be onboarded. You'll be in your channel. Our team will be doing everything they need to be doing. Sound good? Perfect. Then send the contract over. Just get the payment link ready, your automations and onboarding, whatever you need to have, and don't handle it off the call. Right? If you go, I want to do payment off the call, be like, dude, if we're going to do this, let's fucking do this. Like, you want to do this? Let's get onboarded right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, let's not do it.
Yeah.
Because there's clearly something that you're not addressing with me.
Yep. Okay. Because what if there's an excuse of, I don't have my card on me, all that sort of stuff? Like, what would you do?
You don't have your credit card on you?
Yeah.
Okay, first off, are you at home or at your office? You probably have your credit card on you because you got to buy coffee. And if you're at home and your credit card's not with you, I'd be pretty worried. Second off, if you're out of the house or out of the office and you don't have your credit card on you, how are you living? It's just like, you probably have, like, that's just bullshit every time, right?
Okay.
I've actually never gotten that one. That's pretty funny.
Yep. Okay, so really you want to be sending them the contract and then literally sit on the call with them as they're reading through it, and then they make the payment. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Future pace, whatever, like not results, but what happens next. Just let them know exactly transparently. Send you the contract, collect payment. I'm doing onboarding as you're doing all of this, and then by the time we're done with this call and you've made your payment, you're already rolling. Right? We're gonna sit here together through the process. Yeah.
I sort of this now. What if he's like, I've got I'd love to do this right now. I've got a meeting in the next 2 minutes with a client or something like that.
Like after you guys agree to get things rolling?
Yeah. So obviously we've got like this 30, 45 minute block, and then he's like, I've got another client meeting right now. He's
okay,
like,
if you struggle with that, which most of the time you won't, like that's not going to come up if you get to this stage in the call. If that does happen, just start asking earlier. I got a hard stop in 45 minutes to an hour. Even if you don't and you're willing to run over, when are there any hard stops that you have to be aware of with you? I usually do that just like out of habit.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when they say, it's like, bro, what, you got a client call? Because then you can actually track your time and like, okay, I only got 20 minutes for onboarding and an objection overcome. Let's book a follow-up.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not a complete loss. So he did ask a question like, do you have any other brands on board and stuff like that? So it's not a complete loss, but yeah, that really threw me off. I was really happy because I was like, oh, sweet, slam dunk. And then, that's the name of the game. So, yeah.
Yeah. A couple hard lessons like that prevents you from having to fail.
It was a big lesson. Yeah. I was really feeling shit, but now I'm like, all right, I'm not going to make this mistake again. So, yeah. Thank you.
There you go. No worries. Dennis?
Yeah, so I have a question regarding, how do you follow up with people who are 100% certain that they want to do it, but for some reason they're like, I'm like they're just not coming back at you. So, for example, I had this one guy. He was selling the product basically to me. I was like, okay, this guy's 100% closed, but he wanted to speak to his business partner. 2 days ago, he asked me to drop the price a little bit and do a split payment. I did that, and I asked him, look, if we do that, are you actually committing to signing the contract? And so in the evening, when it was evening for him, I called him. He didn't pick up, and I heard nothing back from him, and he left me on red. So, like, what do I do now with this guy?
Yeah. So again, first thing, when you get commitment like that, don't let them do it on their own time. Hold them down. Make it happen. They will thank you for it later. Just like Zach did on the phone with Jose today. He said, thank you for closing me. You changed my fucking life. Right? That's what your leads will say to you. But if you don't, you never get the opportunity to get a call like that. The second thing with him is if they're ready to go and we're in a situation, you just say, hey, man, just seems to me like you're not really serious about achieving dream outcome and goal that we talked about. So I'm just going to stop following up with you. If and when you're ready to make this happen, you know who to call. Just going dark message, they will always get back to you. Like, I'm so fucking sorry, bro. Right? Because the way that they think about it in their head is, Dennis is here. He's always going to be trying to sell me. When the opportunity arises, like, I'm going to do it. But if you send a message like that, they're going to be like, oh, fuck, if I don't respond, it's going to completely close the door. Like, I want to leave all the doors open. Right? Because then he's just going to be like, this guy he just pulls people's legs and, doesn't live up to his word. So going dark message has an 85% response rate on it across all industries, and that's from HubSpot.
Damn. Okay. So it's actually a text and not a call, right?
Yeah. Like you can close people over text, no problem. If you had them on a call like you did, you should close them on the call. But if you can't, then you can send them a message like that if you know they're committed. It just doesn't seem like you're serious anymore. Totally understand. I'm going to stop following up. You don't waste your time or my time. If you're ready to move forward with this, you know who to call.
So it doesn't seem like you're serious about this anymore. If you want to pursue this in the future, you know who to call.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you're serious about either dream outcome or short-term goal, like whatever you address with them, or like whatever their business dream outcome is, right? Mm-hmm. Which I totally understand. Things change. I'm just going to stop following up with you. I don't want to waste your time or my time. If and when you're ready to do this in the future, you know who to call. Just send that message. You'll get a response 85% of the time.
Okay.
And from there, you can play and do whatever you want.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yep. Devin?
Yeah. So I watched the call from yesterday, and I know that, and you just mentioned this too, of not taking the wrong answers. So today I tried that, and at that point, that in the in the script. And I asked her like 5 times then, and she would not get to the bottom of it. And then I kind of like passed it off. And then I came back at section 4 for the red flags and tried it like another 5 times, asking her questions, trying to get to the bottom of it. And she just would not admit that she didn't take action. For 3 years, she didn't take action.
Yeah. So this is the thing, is like, that's the whole thing. That's the whole, it's my fault. And most people won't ever do that because people just are way less accountable than you think. First opportunity, push the blame off. And so instead of saying, I didn't take the leap, right? I didn't take action. I have fear, and that's why I didn't take the action. I'm blaming it on the fear. And then you say, okay, perfect. You're blaming it on the fucking fear. Are you okay here with me to hold you accountable to not letting that fear be the thing that stops you moving forward? Yes. That's a way easier way to go about it. So don't like change your objective for what you want her to realize, from her being, it's my fault, to it's not my fault. I just have this fear. Blame the fear.
How do you blame it, but also make it be her idea that it was the fear? Like, what questions do you ask to guide her towards that?
2 question frameworks. So one of them is, you ask, like, give me an example of something that she was blaming it on.
Timing. It wasn't a priority. It wasn't part of her vision at the time.
Yeah. So like, timing was, and if it wasn't a priority, the reason it wasn't a priority is because of what? Because of X. The reason it wasn't the reason it wasn't was because of what? That's basically the reason it wasn't X is because of what? That's the framework. The other question you could ask is, okay, and when you should be prioritizing X and you're not, what's going on in your head? So it's just these 2. I'll just copy and paste them.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Thank you.
I sent it into the chat here. Leo?
What I wanted to ask is, and you were talking about taking signing the agreement on the call. What are the circumstances where you would allow them to slip and say, well, yeah, you can do that in other
would be if they have information that they need to make a properly informed decision about working with you or business that is not readily accessible or available.
What are the logistical or any reasons that you would say, well, they can do it later?
Anything that you know they can't get access to. I need to, get a loan from my bank, and that's the only way I can afford to pay for this, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got to go talk to the bank first. You don't want to sign a contract for something you can't pay for, right? Go talk to the bank.
Yeah.
We'll take a deposit today. We'll start your onboarding. We'll make it happen. Like things like that. Or
how
my business partner and I are splitting up.
Do you just take a deposit? Just send them a link. Let's say $500 or whatever. And
yeah, just like, I'll take $100 from you today, just to know that we're on the same page. We're going to do this. I'll start your onboarding. We're going to get rolling. You go and get that agreement. Worst case scenario, I'll send that money back, and we'll call it. Yeah.
Do you have a name for the deposit?
No, we just
deposit.
It's called $500 deposit, $100 deposit. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if a person says that I have to move things around in my bank?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well, basically, okay. Before you do that, yes, absolutely. Let's tie them down, right? I'm going to assume that at this point you've already said, if we can figure out the money, we're 100% going to move forward with this. Yes. Okay, great. So they're going to say, I got to move things around in my bank. No worries. Let me just ask you a couple questions so that we can get a better sense of where things are at, and we can come to a deal that's going to work for you. What's your current cash on hand, right? What's your incoming cash over the next 30 days? What's your credit, access to credit, and what's your credit score? Right? They're going to answer those 4 things. Now you know exactly what's in their bank account, how it's working, and then you can build a plan that works with them. If you don't understand, or like they still have that being hidden from you, how can you build a payment plan out? Right? Then they're like, oh, I got to move money around. But if you just say, what's your cash on hand? Well, it's like, well, fuck, I got $5,000 in my savings account and $2,000 in my checkings account. Okay. And is it going to be a challenge for you to move those between accounts, or like make payments from either one of those accounts? No, not really. So now you can't get the whole, it takes me 5 days to transfer money between my savings and my checkings. So it's just those 4 questions: cash on hand, incoming cash 30 days, access to credit, what's your credit score?
And at the end of the day, still to build that level of trust at the end of a conversation, you have to have really dive deep during the discovery phase in order to ask these kind of questions at the end anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, they've already said, if we can figure out the price, I'm 100% ready to move forward today. Okay, so let's just figure it out. Just let's have a real conversation.
Yeah, and then you would still take the deposit. You would schedule them, let's say, for onboarding, right? We take a deposit. You would schedule them for onboarding. Let's say the onboarding call is tomorrow, and you give them what until the end of the day to figure it out, or until the onboarding call to complete the rest of the payment, for example.
You have their card on file now, so it's like as soon as whatever you're waiting for that deposit, whether that be signing a contract or whatever, ideally none of this happens, or like a loan from a bank, you can just rip that card. It's on your payment processor and on the contract.
Yeah, but you would determine let's say if they're expecting a loan from a bank and they can only get that loan, let's say after 7 days or whatever, right? So you would determine those details during that conversation. Mm-hmm. So then you take a deposit. Exactly. You would say, well, based on what our current knowledge, you're gonna get that in 7 days. This is what you think. I agree. Do you think do you 100% believe that that's gonna happen? Yeah, 100%.
What's the best thing we can do to get you moving fast, right? You said you want to do this. We want to make the money work. So I'll take a deposit today, just so we know we're on the same page and I'm not going to get screwed with my time. I'm going to start your onboarding today out of goodwill. And as soon as that loan comes through,
would you add the screwed up with my timeline?
Yeah, of course. Of course. What, you think I'm going to onboard you for free? Fuck that.
We should add that as well. Fuck that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is just what I would say. Like, this is a good frame to hold. Yeah.
All right. I think that's.
I say some obnoxious shit sometimes, so I wouldn't recommend copying everything I say.
Well, sometimes you have to feel it, right? You have to be in a position to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't try and be somebody that you're not, right? Like, hold a good frame, but don't try and put a character into play.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. I want to share something with you guys who are still on this call. Zach, this will be good to share with Tim and Evan. I'm just going to join back on my iPad. What the fuck? Oh. That was fucking terrible.
This is called yeah, but then go to but isn't there like Bella? Yeah, those are like the lowest specs to go Bella. Yeah, this is just the other one is Range Rover Bella. Yeah, I just so it wasn't a dumb question. No,
all right. That's not working. So I will do it next time. I just want to run through some pricing stuff with you guys so that you can understand how ads actually can work for everybody. It just depends on how much you're willing to spend. When I understood this, it made it way easier to sell shit. So I will run you through that next time we chat. Maybe tomorrow. Sound good? Have a good Thursday. Let's wrap the week up strong. Collect some cash. See you soon.